Trajectory Global streaming live podcast. My name's Scotty Carlisle.
I'm Jay Kitamura.
My name's Aarti Chopra.
And we're here to actually, there's going to be some interesting breakthroughs tonight. I don't know. Tune in because it's going to get interesting. But before we get into the nitty gritty, Jason, you have anything to tell everyone about?
Thank you guys for coming. First of all, everybody here live, because some people may not realize that if they're watching online that we actually do it in front of an audience, audience that are having fun eating. So we have food. It's a fun time
Drinking
here at Carl Strauss in Dos Lagos. So any of you guys close by and want to join in on the action, you guys are free to come. So aside that, we have a lot of stuff going on. We have our book, and Aarti is part of that chapter 2. Yes. So that's going to be that's in the works right now. We have our personal brand mastermind every Monday at 12. So you guys, everybody watching is free to join that as well. Build up your brand. If you're a business owner, it's real important. Even if you're not a business owner, to have an impact. If you want to elevate your voice online, that's the place to be.
If somebody's watching right now and they're like, well, how do I log in, or where do I go to see that? Where would they go?
I mean, first you want to do is subscribe to our channel. So if you're seeing this live on YouTube, you can subscribe there. We have all the information on all the videos.
What is that channel?
It's Trajectory Global.
Trajectory Global.
Trajectory Global. I mean, most likely if you're seeing this, you're on it. But check the descriptions. We'll put the links in there.
He's got a good point.
And I'm a subscriber.
There you go. But really, the other thing is, as we're growing this, and we will be growing this pretty big, the whole idea is to give a voice to people who have something worth saying, people who have the ability to make an impact and change people's lives. We want to give you a platform and a loudspeaker to get your word out there. That's why we do the books. That's why we do these podcasts. That's why we created Trajectory. So that being said, we have a lot of stuff in store for people who want to do that. If you want to build your personal brand and be a guest on here, there's a lot of other things we're doing. We're going to be talking about being guests on other podcasts, growing your social presence, creating online communities, getting best-selling author status, all that stuff to benefit you having a louder voice out in the world. So a lot of stuff coming, but it's good stuff.
And the idea is we need engagement. So if you're sitting there and you're watching this, we want you to come and be part of the communication, part of the dialogue, part of the conversation. This weekend I went to the air show, and it was interesting because there was a huge, like a turbine, and it basically, I don't even know what the hell it powered, but it was basically a huge turbocharged thing that propels some kind of a craft, right?
Wow.
And here's the thing about trajectory, right? Turning fire into fuel or pain into purpose. We need that power to help us propel. And sometimes people can be that to us to help us, or even better, we can be that for somebody else. So the idea with trajectory is not just to find, to get insight. Like, we're going to all get insight from this conversation tonight, but it's also to be part of an insight to somebody else. So that's why we need your engagement. That's why we need you to be a part of this whole thing, because without all of us connected and being able to have a conversation with each other, it's just not worth it. So this is what Trajectory is about, is helping trajectory of everybody that we meet and touch. So that's an invitation in case you didn't get that.
Both of our goals have always been to make an impact. And we figured the best way to do that is to help people who want to make an impact. So our footprint is bigger. So that's what we're doing here.
And the other thing before we get into this is that the fact is, like, our business is AI, and we see it's getting crazy, you guys. AI is getting insane. And if you are not doing AI or having something to do with AI or experimenting with it, your competitors are. And so when all of the AI does all of the automation and it does all the creative work and it does all of the heavy lifting for your business, the only thing you have left is your personal brand, is who you are. And people are going to want to connect with you. And if you're not doing anything to get that brand out there, you're missing the boat. So part of what we're doing is to help people get their brand recognition out there. So again, when AI takes over, you still have yourself and your connection.
Yeah, because even if you're not a business owner, the fact is in the next 10 years, there's going to be a lot of jobs that are lost.
Yeah.
Because AI will take over jobs. And the thing is that most people's identity is tied to what they do, how they make an impact. So if you have no job, you feel like you have no purpose. But the idea with the personal brand is figure out what your purpose is outside of that and let other people know what that is so you can create that own community. And that's really going to be kind of like the currency of the future. Because what else do we have left aside from that?
Scary time. You can sound so scary.
It's a little scary, but it's
scary, right, guys?
You got to prepare. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why we're here. That's why we need this live studio audience, like the good old times. Remember, like the sitcom live, audience taping. This was good old days. That's when you really connected with.
And if you guys have any ideas of things that we could do with the audience, again, this whole thing is an experiment. So we want engagement from the audience too. So if you guys, I don't know, if you have somebody that puts a clown hat, I don't know. We could just do all kinds of stuff. So if you have any ideas, let us know.
Yeah. I might do some things with the audience, so be prepared.
Okay.
All right.
I set the stage.
Well, that's a class performer, special ed teacher in me. So I'm used to a classroom of kids, special needs kids. So you're warned.
That is perfect. This is okay. So here's the thing. Aarti, I know that I've been excited for you to come and be part of this whole thing because you definitely have this energy that is hard to find. Like you have this, you're a very expressive type person and you're articulate and you have a deep love for people.
Oh.
Like it's very apparent. And I think that
understatement. I was born to love people.
So, but what is it that you do on a normal day? Like for people that are listening.
Is this a trick question?
Yeah.
I bet inquiring minds want to know, huh? This is like the National Enquirer. Is this going to go in the gossip tabloids? On a normal day, I just try to stay sane. Because with what you just said about AI, I'm trying to stay more connected with myself. I mean, that's the long and short. I mean, I can go into the details of, I wake up. I'm not a morning person. On any given day, I have a ton of networking meetings that I have to get ready for and get my marketing promotional material prepared for and be ready when I walk in the door at like 11 o'clock, hopefully. Like by the time I do all this, it's 11 a.m. I'm not a morning person. But, every morning I wake up making an active choice and decision that today I'm going to live my best life. I want to, if this is my last breath I take, I don't know. We don't know.
You never know.
None of us know, right? If today is the day that decides it wants to take my last breath, I want to do it living my best life. What does that look like? Who am I with? Where am I going? How am I going to get up, dress up, and show up? Making sure I don't have any regrets. And yes, like work-wise, business-wise, I have my own socially conscious organization, and I do socially conscious events for businesses. And I incorporate business connections for social causes through culture and arts and through comfort Indian food. Who wants some? Anyone here? Line up, please. I've curated only.
What's an example of that?
Something for every palate, whether you're non-veg, vegetarian, vegan, non-fried, healthy, salad, chutney eater. I've got something for everyone. But the main thing is what I learned from my family is that the family that eats together stays together. So now every day I wake up with that in mind. Okay, if I'm eating with myself, which is most of the time, I'm creating myself as my own family. I'm learning to be reliant on myself. And then when I go out and I meet people like you guys, or I go to all the different networking mixers that I'm at all day, every day, I treat them like family, or the way my family used to treat strangers like family when they would walk in through the door. So every day I'm waking up, living my family's legacy, which was that strangers would come through the door, they would become family. And they would become family over our Indian chai, my grandma's snacks, our Indian food, whether it was breakfast, lunch, or dinner when people were coming through. But my family's no more. And the months of April, May are very difficult for me because April 7th, 2012 is when my mom passed away. And then May 12th, Mother's Day, 6 years ago, is when my grandma passed away. And April, 19 days after my mom died, I got my legalized divorce papers in the mail. And I also went through IVF in between to try to, capture some eggs to freeze them, now that I'm getting divorced because I had good health insurance. Just an aside, April is my trauma month. Yeah, warned you.
Laughing, but
Warned you.
like, oh shit, what do you say about that?
Mhm.
Because unpacking that's some dense stuff that you just threw out
April.
there.
Yeah, and you and I had this conversation that if I'm going to be a podcast, guest on this trajectory podcast, it needs to be in the month of April, and I have to be ready to publicly show up exactly how I need to continue my healing by publicly releasing my baggage, but doing it in a sort of contained way. There's a jungly in me. You'll see the jungly when the
Controlled
time
chaos.
is right. Oh, yeah. And there was some controlled chaos before I walked in here, but I've learned controlled chaos. And so now what I'm doing is all the healing that I've done over the last 13 years of just trauma healing on an individual basis. I wake up every day and say, how can I heal someone else's trauma, which will in turn continue to better me and heal me even to be stronger and, more resilient, because someone else is suffering much more than I am. I'm not suffering anymore. I'm living a good life. I'm thankful every morning I wake up that I have a really good life, a comfortable, beautiful roof over my head, peace of mind in my home, no drama, no kids, no pets, no husband, no ex-husband, no roommates. Not many people have the good fortune of having a peaceful home life, living alone. Sometimes it's lonely, but that's just another tunnel we all have to go through. We're going to get to the end of it. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So this month doing this podcast was so important in you guys asking me what I get up and do every day. Now, this month, for some 13 years later, I celebrated Mom's 13-year with my elder uncles and aunts just this past Sunday. And what I do now is I'm recreating my family legacy in a business setting. So any business networks I come across, if we're doing business, we need each other, especially in an extremely divided time. So there's all these things that can divide us, and I'm a living, walking, talking textbook description of divided, broken, traumatized, but those words don't define me anymore. So I love on people the way I want to be loved on. So if that's the energy anyone feels when they meet me, like I'm addicted to positivity. So I'm infusing that in my business. I'm infusing that when I meet people at network mixers, in any organization, chamber of commerce, network group, professional organization, alumni organization. I mean, I belong to like over 15 groups, just in Orange County alone. That's not counting a chamber. Haven't joined a Rotary yet. That's on the list. Haven't joined a board yet. That's on my list. So I have my bucket list of things I want to get up and do every day. And that's hard for a woman nowadays, especially from my culture, being Indian, where we are the culture of the big fat Indian wedding. That's hard for a woman who's divorced with no children and doesn't have any of her family members left anymore. And the ones who are there are like physically there, but they're not there, if you know what I mean. So for an Indian woman my age to not have my own family unit, I am recreating myself every day. I'm creating my own family every day within me. I am my own child. I'm my own spouse. I'm my own partner. I'm my own mom and my dad and my own brother and sister. I had all these relationships and I lost them all. Yeah. Oh, so sweet. So yeah, I mean, every day I make sure I'm a people lover and living my life's purpose every day.
Sorry. Do you ever see your face change as you're creating your families?
Yes, and that's a great question. That's a really good question because with all the trauma I've been through, I know there are others who are way worse off than me. I'm a survivor, a thriver, a resilient, gritty, badass goddess somewhere in there, a little jungly too. But I'm sophisticated when I need to be. So yes, I have many personalities in me that fulfill the child in me, the parent, the spouse, the brother, sister. But yeah, I look at myself in the mirror every day and I go, who is the Aarti I want people to see today? And it depends who I go and see. Like today, I wanted to look good because I've had a pretty difficult week, I should say. But that's just like, oh yeah, I'm used to this now for the last 13 years. Yeah. Girl, yes, totally. And it probably takes one to know one. But did you know I was Latina in my past life? Straight up. My attitude, my talk, it comes out because that's who I am in my Indian incarnation. I'm Punjabi. My lineage is from all three parts of Punjab. There's India, Punjab, Pakistan, Punjab, and New Delhi, the capital, the Punjab there. So my family lineage is from all three parts of Punjab. And I keep saying Punjabis are the Latinos of India. And I was so Latina in my past life. And I speak, Spanish too, with like a full-on native accent. But this is how I connect with my people. When I'm speaking in your language, in the, I'm making you my family. And it is automatic now. But yeah, I'm very conscious of, I can't look like this. The hair has to look good. The hair has to be colored. The hair has to be half up with my little tendrils hanging out. It has to be in front like this. Yeah, I'm like stupid that way. But if it helps me be a more authentic version of myself, heck yeah. But then I'm like, okay, well, don't become the bad parts of the family. All of us have bad parts of family members. Every single one of us, doesn't matter what background we come from. So I've made it, a point to shed a lot of undesirable toxic family traits and recreate my own, what I call the next generation Chopra legacy traits. So that's what I get up and do every day. Working on the Chopra family legacy, because I'm like, I may as well be Deepak Chopra's daughter. Because everyone's like, do you know Deepak Chopra? Well, heck yeah, we're all connected up the DNA line anyway. So yeah, I'm his adopted daughter. Priyanka Chopra Jonas, I danced on stage with her 11 years ago. And my whole family says when I dress up in my Indian outfit, I totally look like her. And I'm like, I'll own it. I'm a Chopra. The next Chopra family legacy coming, look out Priyanka, look out Deepak.
In that time that you spend, with your dinners creating your family, what do you think is the biggest thing that you've discovered about yourself doing that introspection?
God, how I miss cooking and eating with my family. The yearning is getting stronger and deeper for me, for my family, because I grew up from childhood, birth, living in a family until I stayed at home. I got married at 30, almost 31. I then went and moved with my husband, lived with him. We got divorced after 5 years. Then I moved back home with mom, grandma, brother. And it wasn't until I was like 36 that I actually started living out on my own for the first time. And that was gnarly. I was very protected. And now I'm just like, I can't imagine living with other people, or I've tried to get roommates, but I crave my family time. And so I'm recreating it, not so much in my home, but I'm creating that home wherever I go with food and family. I figured out food is the medium through which we all create family, but some have done it more, right? Like some cultures. So but the yearning, you would think with time, oh, time heals. No, that's a lie. Time makes your pain and trauma different because it goes deeper. It goes in your whole being, and every cell of you remembers those memories and wants to recreate the good times. Like I miss being married. I am a born to be a wife and a mother, and life took both of those roles away from me. And so I recreate that in my own life with myself, but then I'm now recreating that with others I meet. So everywhere I go, even if it's a momentary exchange, I want to make sure I have that family type of energetic. We're all energy. I want to have that energetic exchange because, again, the family that eats together stays together. The family that works together and does business together stays together. The family that dances together stays together. The family that does humanitarian work stays together. We need these constructs now more than ever when politics and so much more is dividing us. So I hacked my life. Yeah.
That's good.
It's yours. It's yours for the taking.
So,
You know-
go ahead.
No, and I'm here to clone the learning. This is yours for the taking. It's not like, oh, it's my intellectual property and I'm going to hold on to my trauma and you can't. I'm going to, IP it. No. Whatever I do, I want people to copy it. I want people to live it. Take anything positive out of our exchanges. It's yours. Because I don't know when we're going to come across one another again. We're atoms, particles crossing like this. We're energetic beings getting attracted to one another, repelling, attracting, repelling. And then the energy as human beings is gone with a breath. Then the energy continues with each life born.
You know what's crazy? The thing about trajectory is, turning fire into fuel, right? Do you know what creates fire? Like at the very most atomic, it's movement. It's movement. It's movement of atoms. Faster it goes, the hotter it gets, right? So now today, and it's really interesting the way that life works. If you're open to synchronicities, if you're open to the universe being a way of communicating with you, where it's through things that happen in your life, and you open your eyes to that, I feel like there's a lot of those kind of things that happen, right? Earlier today in Rotary, there was a speaker. His name's Tim Evans. I don't know if you're watching, but he's going to be on here later. But he started a thing called the Unforgettables. It's a nonprofit, and what they do is for families that lost their children and can't afford a funeral, the nonprofit helps families pay for the funeral. So there are so many different traumas that happen in different aspects of life, right? But all we can relate with is what we're personally experiencing, right? So for you, I really appreciate you being so open because there's so many things that I'm processing from what you said that I'm trying to be like unpack and like, wow, where do I go? And then there's so much. But the fact that you have that and that you just opened up like you did, I think is definitely something that is that's helping you heal. 100%. But here's the thing, it's not just you. There are people that are listening that are struggling with their identity, struggling with their family because they're like, this should be this way. My family should be like this. I should have that. And it's not there. So then they're telling themselves, I'm not good enough. What happened to me? What's wrong with me that I don't have this? Even though anybody looking from the outside in knows it's not you. It's a situation and everything is moving. Everything is temporary. And you end up having relationships and situations and then everything is fleeting, So so I think that and the thing is with what you've done with your identity, you've connected it to culture, you've connected it to food, which I think is a very insightful thing. I'm thinking about my experiences as a kid at my grandma's house, and it was about food, and it was about our cousins, and and I miss that. So I understand because I don't have it, and now I'm
especially as we get older. This is definitively. I think all of you in the audience can agree. As we get older, we do get more nostalgic for those good times.
But my only thing is, Derek, I know you have a question. My only thing is that these are mental constructs that we create, right? Where it's like And you have to be very careful the way that you talk to yourself, because when you say things like loss or death, it automatically creates a response inside of yourself that is lack, that is something that is suffering, right? So you can mitigate that by the specific words that you use, right? And so I'm just throwing that out there because, you know, I guess it's not goodbye, it's I'll see you later. You know, something like
Right.
that.
And this is a great segue, by the way, into my own belief system and what I've been raised with, which is Hindu. I come from not as devout of a Hindu family as other devout Hindu families, but we were devout in our own practices. And those devotions, that devotion still carries with me to this day, as recently as just this past Sunday, where I've been with my same spiritual uncle auntie group, I call them. They're all in their late 70s to 80s. They're my adopted parents. They've seen me since I was 11 years old, since I moved here from India. And they know what I was, where I came from, my family, what we did, and they miss them just as much as I do. But in our Hindu belief system, we believe in karma, which is it literally means your actions. People think karma is a bitch. Karma means karma. Aap kya kar rahe ho? What are you doing? Karma, your doings, the cause. Then there is a fruit or an outcome of that, which is a consequence. So karma is the action, consequence is the outcome. So we say in Hindi, hum apne karmon ka phal bhugat rahe hain. We are reaping the fruits of our karma. What you sow, so you shall reap. Such a common universal concept, right? In the Hindu or dharmic belief systems, the dharmic belief systems originated in ancient India, which is what you would call modern day Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism, and Sikhism. All four of these dharmic belief systems that originated in ancient India have this belief of do good karma for good outcomes, for good consequences. Karma doesn't have to be a bitch. I don't like that saying because it has a negative connotation to a negative female. It's putting a negative connotation to a female, term. And so you just say karma is the choice of your actions and your deeds. The outcome is what you really need to focus on, which is the fruit. We also believe in reincarnation, which is a segue into what you were saying, that we are just energetic beings. We come in on planet Earth with a breath. We take a breath. We're spanked on the butt, all of us, by the doctor. No baby has not been spanked on the butt by any doctor across the world. We come in with trauma, with a spank on the butt trauma by the doctor, and we go out by releasing our last breath. Then we're either cremated or buried. This is all energy. So if I'm saying death, reincarnation, we believe in rebirth. Rebirth based on the deeds, the karmic deeds you've done in your lifetime, previous lifetimes. And if you don't sort those out in this lifetime by doing good, if you know you've had a hard life, but I've had some bad past lives, that's for sure. I've done past life regressions and everything. I'm like, okay, girl, straighten it out in this year, in this lifetime, because you don't want to be going into the next lifetime all like, hot, traumatized mess. No more. Or like a lower life form. So we believe in that. When you do not so good deeds in this life, in the next life, your soul will then take form, a physical form of a lower life form. And all the dharmic belief systems originating out of ancient India. So I say death, life very casually, but really I'm talking about the energy and the soul, which we call Atma. Atma, A-A-T-M-A. Atma, A-A-T-M-A. The Atma is the universal energy. It could probably translate directly to soul, but Atma really is more than that. The Atma is omnipresent. You are God? Omnipresent. If you want to call it God, yeah, you can call it God. It's whatever. It's energy. It's higher consciousness. You are the source. So you can call it whatever. You can call it Jesus, Buddha, Zoroaster, Christ, and any or Moses, Abraham. You can call it anything, but we're talking about those higher consciousness, the source from which you believe you came from, and that you will go back to, and that hopefully you want to get reborn into a higher consciousness. That is what every Hindu or dharmic faith aspires for. We want moksha, liberation. We don't need salvation as much as liberation from this earthly bondage, from the bondages of the earth energy that keeps us down. So if you separate death from bondage, we're dying every day, we're dying every moment. And the goal is to let go, constantly let go. It's a death every moment, every cell, and you're rebirthing. So it's a cycle. Life, death, life, death. It's a cycle.
Do you ever leave in your dreams, like leave your body and go other places in the country?
I wish I had more dreams. I think my life would be even more interesting than it already is right now.
But like even as a kid, did you ever dream and, where oh, I can control my dream? And
I wish I had those dream stories. I don't. I'm kind of boring that way.
I do.
This is a little boring part of my life is I haven't done. I do have like dreams but the dreams that are so vivid where they feel like they're real life. So I've definitely had moments, even recently, that, I'm living this whole other life in this make-believe world, fantasy world. And it was so real to the touch that when I woke up from that dream, I felt like, wait, is this real life? Am I back on earth or am I in this fantasy world? So yeah, I've had dreams of being in a fantasy world, which is completely other world. But I think that's also natural and normal part of the human experience, right? People have all kinds of dreams that take them all kinds of places.
There was a book called The Book of Joy. And it was Desmond Tutu, who's very, I guess he's like the arch whatever in Christianity. He's up there.
Bishop and the I think.
And then, and his book was him discussing basically these serious things with the Dalai Lama.
Oh yeah.
And so the Dalai Lama, it was all towards Buddhism. And here's the thing. A lot of us share different beliefs because of where we came from. And we're all programmed in that way. Yeah. We have an identity that literally is front and center to our lives. We're American. We're Indian. We're Christian. Muslim. We're whatever that is.
Male, female,
trans, whatever, whatever the other things are. I know there's a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
For some people.
Mm-hmm.
But and the thing is, and why it becomes such an issue, because for me, coming from a small town, a girl and a boy, and yes, there's hermaphrodites too. I've heard of those, right?
Yeah.
So there's really three, but then in my mind, I'm thinking, why is this such a? And I don't want to maybe piss anybody off, or maybe I do. I don't know. But the thing is, the reason is that our identity becomes front and center to our whole entire life.
Yes.
And then our intellect is there to support our identity. So then what happens is we look through all these little, call it micro closes, like I'm this, I'm American, so I'm better in this way and I'm better in that way. Right. Or and we're always looking for a way of verifying and confirming our identity. And so that's where so many people has problems, because now I've identified as a shoe, which is a pretty pink shoe, right? But if I really put that into my head, like I'm identifying as a shoe, I'm going to be a shoe. And then I'm going to think of different ways of how I can. And so it does become a mental construct that people create. And so now, right or wrong, it's not about right or wrong. It's about what you are putting into your mind. And that just, if you can understand that your intellect supports your identity, then I think you'll be more careful about what you identify with. Like, okay, so you identify as Hindu, right? I identify as Christian. But if I make that identification as a way of I'm I'm better or I know more than you do.
Supreme. It's a supremacy complex.
Okay, right, and that becomes a real problem because
yeah.
it keeps me from learning insights that you have from your culture, from your learning that I could glean from you if I was open to hearing what you think and why you think. But sometimes we're closed off to other people, and it's based on identity and your belief structure. Because here at the end of the day, you don't know shit. You're smart. You're the smartest guy I know, dude. You don't know shit.
Don't many people.
I definitely don't know shit. None of us know shit. When it comes to like everything, like we can't even see what an atom is. When we look at things, we see things. There's 99.9% space that occupies what we see, and our brain, like we've talked about this a lot, just fills in stuff, right? So I think, and I'm just going on that because
styrofoam. Let's styrofoam peanuts.
What is it?
In our packaging.
Yeah.
Like our brain is like this box full of styrofoam peanuts. Nothing.
Right. Yeah. And so I know that you've had situations where people have said things because they've identified in a certain way and they're like, well, you're not whatever because you identify this way and you're wrong. But the thing is, you might be, right? But you might not be.
Right. And body language. This has to do with body language. And I have had more comments, negative comments through people's body language versus just saying things to me. And I'm like, here I think I'm the most positive, happy-go-lucky girl on planet Earth, and I'm trying to give off those vibes. Then why am I getting all this stink eye or this stink body language or, microaggressive comments? Because the human brain, first of all, we hardly use more than 10% of our brain. So what are we doing with the rest of the 90%? It's atrophying. It's atrophying into nothingness. And then now with AI, good luck with the 10%. Good luck to the 10%. And it's really like we've stuffed our brain with styrofoam peanuts packaging. Just to make ourselves feel good and not empty. Oh, we got to stuff it with shit. But, we talked about this right before starting that, okay, if we bring bad shit, let the bad shit go because we want some good shit too. There's good shit. But it's a constant giving, receiving, letting go, filling and letting go, filling up, letting go, filling up, letting go. And I think it's just really about being aware and conscious that what are you letting in energetically and what you need to let go, and that you are not that thought. You are not that energy. You are not that identity. Because at the end of the day, we all came from Earth. We're all going back to the Earth. Whatever Earth is. How did Earth come? We don't know. Big Bang Theory, creation theory, evolution theory, who knows? Every belief system has its own explanation. But at the end of the day, we're just matter and energy. Derek, you want to say something?
Derek said
I like you're saying some things in the audience.
So I'm from Pluto, for the record.
The planet that doesn't exist anymore. That's
my
what we
father's
thought.
from Mars and my mom's from Venus. I'm from.
And what about the other? Your grandparents are also planets that are yet to be found.
Yeah, we're interstellar.
There you go. You summed it up perfectly.
That's in part 1 of the book.
You summed it up beautifully. There, that's your answer.
I wanna bring up something that you mentioned before, because actually, I think the way you've handled the trauma or like the loss is kind of profound, actually, because the way I take it, and I could be wrong, but the way I took it is that, because I'm on the same path as you as far as believing like we're all energy. Everything's energy. So even the trauma and the loss that we feel is not necessarily a loss of that object. It's a loss of that energy that we had. So, but what's profound is that instead, most people, what they do is when they have that loss of energy, they try to replace it with something else, something temporary, like, they go to drugs or drinking or to elevate that energy, or they try to like bury it, right? But I think a lot of people do that because they feel that energy, if they replace it, is like disrespectful to who they lost. You know what I mean? Like it's the idea of like my dad passed away. Am I replacing my dad? And people are kind of like held back by that. But
like taking on his characteristics and personality.
Or like trying to replace that energy that I had with him with some, like, For instance,
great.
like, you know,
Oh,
for me,
yeah.
like I have like one of the best memories I have of my dad's like playing golf, right? But like trying to replace that feels wrong. But
Mhm.
the way that you approached it is because it's we're not looking at it as people, we're looking at it as energy.
Yeah.
You're trying to replicate the energy that you
Yes.
lost, which is interesting because most people don't try to recreate that energy.
Oh, I'm trying to recreate
Yeah.
all day, every day.
Yeah.
I am.
Perspective.
That's
Mhm.
really, that's a great observation. First of
Yeah,
all, thank you
for
for that,
sure.
Jay, because I don't know that that is what people are thinking when they see me or come across me, that I look a certain way, I talk a certain way, I come across a certain way. All I know is that I'm getting up, dressing up, and showing up. Wash, rinse, repeat every single day. Why do I do that? Because I have suffered from profound depression, not able to get out of bed for 1, 2, 3 days, being completely inept, incapable of doing anything, not showering for 3 days. That Aarti that got lost, that's the lost Aarti. And that lost Aarti scares me because I am all about, because I don't have the family, the husband, the unit, the children, the pets, the chaos, those everyday family interactions. I'm scared and actually terrified of people not recognizing who Aarti was. Oh, this was the Aarti we used to know. What happened to her? Oh my God, she fell apart. She really did a number on herself. And I already get that because I'm left out of couples things, couples socializing. I'm definitely left out of the mom groups and the, you know, with the kids. And that was a big wake up call for me actually in March of 2022. And woo, that was so I recognized because I wanted to be a mom ever since I was a little kid. What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a mom. Like literally as young as 5, 6, I want to be a mom. Well, God, creation, whoever, my creator took that ability away from me. And I said, okay, I've done the big fat Indian wedding, checked off that box. The big fat Indian marriage, did that for 5 years. Big fat Indian divorce. Actually, no, it wasn't a big fat divorce. It was just kind of, I've checked off the divorce box. I didn't get to check off the mom box or birthing my own child box. So I carefully allow myself to be a kid. I want people to see not just Aarti all dressed up and looking like she's put together. I want them to see the big goofball kid in me. That is the energy I miss the most, even more than my family, the whole unit, the eating, the constant stream of guests and visitors through the day, through the months and the years. We were the family headquarters for worldwide. That's why my grandma's and mom's food became world famous, which I'm trying to replicate now in a business setting, but on my own path, my own Chopra legacy. But again, it's just the energy, the energetic exchanges with us as energy and matter, who we are called humans. But the lack of mom energy, the lack of having my own kids, I've catch myself being extremely goofy, extremely like I just want to hop and skip and jump and be like this little twirly haired girl and play with dolls because I didn't get to do that with my kids. I didn't get to do Transformers with my own kids. So I have even taken on a persona of being my own daughter, being my own son, and playing with the little girl inside, playing with the little boy inside, and then allowing both of them to manifest in my interactions with other people. Because I don't want to judge another human being any differently than we're just all big kids. We are all just big kids who want to play in life. We all want to recreate that play feeling. We all want to recreate our childhood feelings and memories. And oh my gosh, that is across cultures. Every single human being wants, if it's a good childhood, not the bad childhood memories. So the child energy is what propels me every single day. The need to be a kid, the need to get back to my Mother Earth. Yeah.
Your introspection into your thoughts, ideas, and emotions, your feelings is pretty profound.
And I'm glad that we got to circle back around because this was kind of tied into what I was originally, going to ask you, because obviously that you go and, like you said, watch, rinse, and repeat. You play this role out every day, but you have this yearning, as you said, for your family. Very, very, deep rooted thing. And I think that becomes in any life, there's this conflict that exists between this duality of two worlds that you live in. And then you referenced the depression side of it, which is where you're trapped in those two worlds and not sure what direction. How do you reconcile your feelings? The two things: the idea that you are out in the world and ambitious and you're doing these things, and of course finding the one that could, have that family with, and being an adopted person myself and understanding from my mother's perspective how maternal she was, but she could not have children biologically. And the love and devotion that she had for me, do you often wonder that perhaps you could find that man who's maybe started later in his life and maybe has a young teen child that would create this ideal family for you and fill that void, the void of giving birth, because that is a God-given right to women that us men do not enjoy. Do you believe, and have you reconciled that in your own mind as you are out in the world, that circumstances will deliver what it is, the very thing that you so much yearn for?
I have two different answers for that question, Derek. My yearning to be a mom to my own children is now pretty much done. I'm using that word very deliberately. That mother in me has come and gone, I think. But the reason she has come and gone to have her own children is because they did have an ex relationship where he had his own twins, girl and boy twins. And they came into my life when they were almost 7 years old. And this was in July, August 2013. So this ex and I, we bonded over his children. I took to them instantly. And this was a year and 4 months after my mom's passing. And not only that, this was after a domino effect, a snowball effect of losing all my family relations with my brother. My own family unit at home broke up once mom died because mom was the pillar, and it was our 87-year-old grandma. We had to uproot her from our family home in Irvine and send her to her other daughter's home in Buffalo, New York. Ugh. Can you say childhood trauma in Buffalo, New York for me? I will not go there. Not if that was the last place on earth I had to go. But so these twins came in my life, ironically, after my mom passed. And I remember asking my mom on her deathbed, she was on hospice, so at least we got to say goodbye to her. I counted down her final seconds of life. And I asked her, I go, Mom, should I reconcile with my ex? Because my ex-husband, because I was going through a divorce at that time. And I remember her, she was laying down in her hospice bed and she had started to look up more towards the heavens, towards the sky, towards the ceiling. And I remember her just kind of going, just closing her eyes, just kind of shaking her head like this. Like, no, like that ship has sailed. So and I'm going to lead up to answer your question. I'm leading up to it. As the universe would have it, I was diagnosed at age 35 with pre-ovarian failure or perimenopause, literally like 12, 13 years earlier than what is normal. And my gynecologist told me I have low egg reserve and I should consider getting a donor egg. I have my own kids. And at age 35, a woman doesn't, think that's what she's going to hear at that age. And I was going through a rough marriage at that time, but my ex-husband and I were still together. But when I got that news, that was in January, oh gosh, a long time ago. And my mom, who was a doctor, she and I monitored my follicular count, my TSH levels, my hormone levels, my estradiol levels, because Dr. Mom was concerned that she's not going to become a grandma because her daughter's not going to be able to have her own children. So mom and I went to one of the best reproductive endocrinologists in the country and happened to be right down the street in Irvine from us. Dr. Lawrence Werlin, looks like Einstein. And he has made so many happy families by giving them babies, miracle babies. So mom and I went to him for like 9 months to monitor me. And he was very honest. He said, your levels are not ideal. And ethically, I cannot pump you with hormones just to make money and to give you false hope that you might retrieve your eggs, to freeze them, to have your own biological child. He's like, ethically, I will not do that to you. So a world-renowned reproductive endocrinologist closed that door on me at a very young age, years too early. Ironically, 10 days after mom passed away, which was April 7th, I think the day that, maybe April 19th is when I think I got my period. I happened to check go to a different reproductive endocrinologist this time, checked my follicular count, checked my FSH level, estradiol levels. All three were ideal. And same night, he pumped me with the highest dose of hormones. He's like, come in right now, start taking your hormones. 10 days after mom died. And I went through a 12-day cycle, giving myself the shots in my abdomen by myself in the same room where mom died. Then my aunt came from India. She gave the last one, which has to go into the glutes. And I remember screaming and howling at the top of my lungs and banging my head against that wall of that room where mom had died, saying, why did you leave me alone to do this by myself? You were supposed to make sure I became a mom like you and made you a grandma. And that yearning has been the fuel, the trajectory of my life to even try to adopt a child, adopt another man's 2 children as my own, which I did for the 4 years we were together. I was their Indian mom. They have their own mom. And then now those twins are 18-year-old young adults. And now I just don't think I want to be even an adoptive mom anymore. The birth mom in me is pretty much gone. The adoptive wannabe mom in me, pretty much gone. But I know for a fact, Derek, I want to answer your question straight on. If the right life partner, twin flame, soulmate does come along and has his own children, of course they would be mine. They just might not be the age that I thought or wanted, but those motherly instincts are never going to go away because that's what I came with. That's what I was raised with. I was raised by 2 goddesses. They left me to fend for myself. And I said, okay, I will figure this out.
I want to spin into something else that you just said that I find ironic because you talked early on about energy, life and death and energy transfers. Would you venture to say the irony of the fact that all of a sudden your hormone levels and everything aligned 10 days after your mom's passing? Is it possible that she gave you some of her energy as she left? And perhaps that was the reason why after all of this time you couldn't, but 10 days later you could? Is it reasonable to believe that she did that in some way and through the afterlife and her energy transferring over to you?
Most definitely. Without a shadow of a doubt. Most definitely. Because of the conversations we were having at her hospice bed, deathbed, and seeing her transition from the life in her that was then slipping away, and physically what it was doing to her. I had to then have those conversations with her. I had to ask her those questions. And I remember asking her because I was going through a divorce. It wasn't finalized yet. And I remember asking her these questions like, should I reconcile with my ex-husband? Should I stop this divorce? Because I was the one who initiated it. And she was just like, it's done. The child thing, the ideal count of everything, most definitely. But then 12 days later, when the reproductive endocrinologist went in, it was on May 5th, I remember. He put me under. I had no idea. I came out. I had no idea what had just happened. I felt like I'd just come in and come out. He says, sorry, just only one side of the ovaries, only one follicle took, and it was just a bunch of enlarged cells. I'm so sorry. And that was May 5th. Mom had passed away April 7th. And then in between that time, April 26th, I got my legal divorce papers in the mail. So from April 7th to April 7th, April 19th, April 26th, May 5th, 4 weeks.
Taking the punches.
And then more punches were to come. But then blessings came. 2 little children came in my life, and they gave me that mom experience, that nurturing mother experience for 4 years. And I'm grateful for that. Now they're 18-year-old twins. Their dad and I have not been together, but we've been on off actually, which is another story for another trajectory podcast. Yeah, they're in my life and my memories. I'm a mother to them in my memories, a mother figure to them, and I'll always be that. Their dad is maybe going through a cancer diagnosis right now, like literally as of today, I got the news. So now my nurturing mother energies are just, all the cells are coming together again. Like, okay, huddle, you know, okay, whatever happens to their dad, stay in touch with the kids, keep your communication open with them, do whatever you can to pray for their dad. And, you know, if you guys are not meant to be together, you're not meant to be together. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop being a mother figure to those twins. They've got their own mom, but what I did for them, what I fulfilled was completely different than their biological mom, completely. And I grew up with a stepmother my whole life. So I know what it's like to be a stepmom figure. So I knew I was going to do it differently. I was going to do the good, and then I was going to change the not so good. So I had a chance to do that. And, you know, should anything happen to those children, their dad, they'll always be in my heart as the kids who made me a mom. Yeah. So that's why I keep myself young and positive and vibrant and colorful and energetic, because I still want to be a mom, of course. But I'm not going to wait. That's why a lot of people see the bubbly personality in me. I'm a big kid at heart, and I want people to see that in me. Right now, I'm my own kid, and I'm enjoying it. I grew up in situations like I'm behaving myself right now, I think. I think I'm grown up right now. Trying to be.
Okay, really fast. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say something resonated earlier with me when you were talking about bringing the experience, bringing the home to other people and the family feel, because I have Love Foundation and my logo is a home with a heart. And that's what God was actually showing me, was communing with food and healing through connection and opening up with stories, like not really saying, oh, this is what you have to do. We don't need to do that. We'll probably figure it out ourselves through connection and hearing others and opening up and realizing none of us have the answer, right?
Right.
So anyway, I wanted to tell you, thank you for having that kind of spirit to bring people that love that you were given, because that's what it is you're able to have that maternal love and spread it everywhere you go and let the haters hate. You're a gorgeous woman. So women are automatically not going to like you. And but I'm thankful from one woman to another.
No, I get microaggressions from both, by the way, women and men.
But
it's
from
okay.
one woman to another, thank you for that, because we need so much love in the world.
Yes,
and what you're saying and how you said, I don't care if they duplicate me, do it, just do that good karma, right?
The karma, yeah. I'm
And
working
good
on
for
my
you.
past life karma. Yeah. And one final thing I'll say to your point, hun, is that I am making a conscious effort. I make conscious choices every moment to make sure that I'm connecting with another human being. in a way that I still lack within me. If I yearn it from my dad, I still have my daddy issues. I yearn it from my mom. I have my mommy issues. I have my brother, sister issues. I have my never having been a mother to my own children issues. I have so much emptiness that I've experienced in my life that I'm filling it through other people. So I'm grateful that people are coming in my life to allow us to have this energetic exchange, whatever that looks like with each individual or with a group. So I am filling up my own lack in a way that is healthy, in a way that is not self-destructive through addictions or, bad relationships. And it's really come down to self-care and self-love. And that has become the mantra of all of us now as human beings. We all care about self-love and self-care. That comes before anything else. Before we can love another human, we have to love ourselves.
So, okay. Sam gave us the 3-minute countdown there because zero. Okay, that was 3 minutes ago.
Yeah.
The good news is it's 3 minutes, but the bad news is that was 3 minutes ago. So I wanted to talk about your relationship with your dad. We don't have, do you have
a third trajectory podcast?
Okay, that is another whole thing, but
Yeah.
I also know that is a major issue in what has made you who Aarti is. So I know that if we open that door, it probably, so we'll save that for another podcast.
I would say you're spot on. Everything I do is because of my yearning for my dad. I think this is the first time I'm publicly admitting it. My dad's still alive. That's why. He's 86 plus. I've been estranged from him for 8.5 years, since September 2016. I got to say goodbye to my grandpa, count his last breaths down. The same thing with my mom. Didn't get to do it with my grandma, but I got to say my goodbye to her in my own way. My dad, I fear the biggest regret that I'll have if I don't reconnect with him. Everything I do is either still to somehow ethereally please my dad, somehow bring him back into my life, somehow reconnect with him before he dies, so I have a chance to at least say goodbye, that I love you. I'm publicly admitting this for the first time. This has everything to do with my still alive but going away father. And I think this is a really important message I want to leave to all of you who are fathers of daughters. Cannot understate, you are the person in her life more than the mom. I think I want to leave on that.
Somebody turned the AC on really high.
Yeah, I did it right.
Damn it. Aarti, that's
the trajectory of my life definitely was set by my father, undoubtedly, and it still does to this very moment. He's in the Bay Area, and he lives in a retirement community called Rossmore, Walnut Creek. Oh, he's the tough one. There's a lot of rejection there. Yeah, that's the journey. That's why I've saved this statement for the last, and in a public setting that's recorded and being put on, a public platform like YouTube. First time I'm talking about this. This is my way of getting to him this way, if not through this way. And if the universe wants it, it'll happen. I'll do my efforts. Yes. Releasing it. I have to release this. I can't hold on to it anymore. So I want to thank you all for holding this space for me to be creating.
It's been
space to be able to hold this for me. Thank you.
It's very powerful. I keep seeing a vision that I need to throw at you.
Okay.
So I used to coach springboard diving, right? And part of what we would do is we would practice on a trampoline.
Okay.
Right. And when you jump on a trampoline, have you ever jumped on a trampoline?
I have, long time ago. Yeah.
So what's interesting about a trampoline is that the more force that you exert in the down, with gravity, the more pressure that you put, the more weight and the heavier you get, right? There's pressure.
Yes.
But the heavier and the more pressure that you exert, the higher you can jump. And there is a direct correlation. It's direct. It's not indirect. Because the things that you've experienced is literally pressing down on the trampoline. Because it's put you in a position that only you are going to be able to basically recoil and go that in the trajectory that you have set for yourself because of your positivity and because the way that you look at people as an extension of yourself and also yourself as an extension of others.
Absolutely.
And I think we can all learn from that because sometimes we look at each other and we say, oh, you're Japanese, you're Indian, you're black, you're white, you're whatever the hell you are. It doesn't, and in our own mind, we create that as a division. And the thing is, it's not. We are all the same. And so the fact that you're here and you're expressing your true self, I think so many people can learn from that. And I'm so appreciative that you let us all see inside who Aarti is. And I'm very thankful for tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. This would have been possible without the collective energy. Thank you, guys. Really deeply grateful. I've been preparing for this moment for at least 3 years and 3 months to the day. January 6, 2022. I promised myself when I get over this, it was another trauma. I haven't talked about. That's a brother trauma. That's a fourth trajectory podcast. That's an strange brother trauma. But I promised myself that I would publicly speak out and I'll know when the time is right. And I've had so many blessings. Like this is a blessed goddess, energy infused, prayer mala I got just on Friday.
Mala?
It's a mala. Yeah, 108 beads. We do our mantras, whatever God you believe in, goddess, you chant, 108 times. I got this. This was the biggest blessing. This was the green light on Friday night because it was leading up to Sunday when I was doing the 13-year prayers with my elder uncle and auntie, spiritual group. And that went really well. And then leading up to this. So there are a lot of mother blessings here that have been coming. And it's all colluded to this moment. And you are all the chosen ones.
Awesome.
To have been the vessels through which this could happen. Yeah, give yourself a hand.
You guys can move.
Yeah.
Nice.
You guys have Aarti made it through trajectory podcast number 1.
Hey Tony, wait. Tony, you can't leave yet. Hold on 1 second. So we're gonna bring this to an end, but Jason reminded me. Oh, okay. I thought you were walking out. Okay, so
you're the chosen one.
You gotta be part of this. One. So, but Jason reminded me, and again, this is something that's an important thing that has driven again the, fire into fuel, right? So, for me personally, and I think that a lot of what trajectory represents is the idea of move. Yeah. Okay, so M, and if you know it, you can say it with me. M is make a difference in other people's lives. O is offer up your time, talents, and gifts.
Ooh.
Find victory in the small things.
Yes.
And then E is encourage others.
Ooh.
So it represents an action that we all have to do to take, which is where fire comes from, is movement.
Absolutely.
Right? The most basic.
Yeah.
But also a compass of how to live your life.
Yeah.
The difference. Offer up what you have. Find victory in this and encourage others. And we all, every single one of us, have the power. And what you have done is inspirational, and it's moved me. And people move because of love, and they're moved because of love. So I just, again, for anybody that's watching, move
forward. Move forward. I'll add to that. Move forward and move up.
There we
forward
go.
And up, not backward or down.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Ready, break.
Thank you, guys.
Love you, but we got to leave you.